how does luck or destiny, what role does it play in victory or success? Right? Is it all hard work? Is it all destiny? What is it? Now, in my humble opinion, destiny is the situations that come to you, which are beyond your control. For example, you didn't choose your parents. Did any of you choose your parents? You were destined. That was destiny. You were born. ऐसा नहीं बोले ये मेरी बाप, ये मेरे माँ, मैं अवतार लूँगा इनसे. Have you ever thought like that? Never. Did you ever choose your looks? ऐसा नाक होगा, ऐसा कुछ. Did you choose? No one looks as good as their Facebook profile picture, and no one looks as ugly as their Aadhaar card picture. No one. No one looks like that. Correct? So situations are destiny. You didn't choose them. They came to you. If someone comes and insults me, I didn't choose it. It came to me. That situation is destined. But my response to those situations is my choice. Response is not destiny. What I choose is my choice. And when I choose it, that decides my future destiny. This is why they say man is the maker of his destiny, not situations. Situations will remain what they are, but how you respond to those situations is completely and entirely your choice. So now, for example, some of you may have just got admission in a mediocre, simple college. Why? You couldn't crack it. To go to IIT Mumbai, you couldn't crack it to any of those places. No issues, right? It's not that only IITians succeed, is it? You have that situation which is destined. Now you have a choice to work hard, to cultivate that attitude. That attitude is not destiny. That attitude is a choice. And when you choose that attitude, hopefully victory will come to you right away. Even if it doesn't come to you right away, you have sown the seed that will pay back. The seed that is sown will certainly fructify. Now, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, or later. This is why persistence, sticking it out, is so much essential.
There was a young man who tried his level best to clear his exams at university, but he repeatedly failed, and finally he just gave up. Thinking that marriage would be the best way to make him responsible, his family got him married. After the marriage, the man took up a job as a primary school teacher, but due to lack of experience, was mocked by the students and finally removed by the school authorities in just a few weeks' time. When he returned home that day, his wife wiped his tears and comforted him. She said to him, "You can teach young kids only if you've taken formal training, or at least have some experience of teaching kids. And for you, you didn't study teaching at university, nor have you dealt with kids earlier. So how would you know how to teach kids?" Don't be too sad about it. When God says yes to your prayer, He gives you what you want. But when He says no to your prayer, He has something better for you. Probably there is a better, more suitable job waiting for you out there. Gathering some hope, the man kept trying to find opportunities, and when he did finally find one, he was once again chucked out of the job due to his slowness. Yet again his wife tried to encourage him by saying, "I'm sure there are people who are skilled and experienced at that job, and their experience comes from many years at it. As for you, you were in school trying to teach kids all this while. So how could you acquire the needed skills?" Don't worry. When God says no to your prayer, He gives you something better. But when He says wait to your prayer, He gives you the best. The man kept trying his luck with several jobs, which never lasted more than a couple of weeks, at best months. Each time he would return back home dejected and depressed, and his loving wife would comfort him. Never once was she disappointed or resentful. By the time the man was in his 30s, he had found his calling and had acquired a flair in languages. He ended up being a counselor in a school for those kids who were challenged in hearing and speaking. And a little later, he opened his own school for specially abled kids. In a couple of years, he set up a chain of stores in different cities and provinces selling apparatus and equipment for the specially abled, and went on to become a multi-millionaire. Ladies and gentlemen, no one in this world is useless. The land may be very fertile, but you may not have figured out your seed yet. It takes a while to figure out what's your seed, what works for you. But once you discover your seed, your passion, your calling, excellence and abundant growth will simply be a consequence. Until then, you need to believe in yourself. More so, you need someone who can believe in you and keep you going till you see your day.
Why? Because the mind doesn't want you to win the game of life. How many of you wanted to wake up early in the morning? Raise your hands. Only wanted, I asked. Wanted to wake up early in the morning. And how many of you have done something called as setting an alarm clock? And then after setting the alarm clock, that's an alarm. Whether you want it or not, it rings. And when it rings, the mind puts its first googly. What does the mind do? By putting the googly, makes you clean bold when you do the first snooze. You are out. You are out. If you snooze, you are out. I want to say one thing, just one. And probably this will change the direction of your life. You know something? When you snooze the alarm, what happens? You decide to give in to the mind's ball. And this is how your morning begins, by giving in to the mind. सवेरे की शुरुआत होती है इस बॉलर से क्लीन बोल्ड होके, आगे क्या मैच जीतेंगे? ये तो दिन की शुरुआत है, by giving in. And it's no problem giving in. Sleeping 5 minutes extra is no problem. The problem is you develop the attitude of giving in. You tell yourself that what I decided last night is not as important. What is important is what the mind says. Because we listen. I'll tell you something, my humble advice. Because it's not just about getting up in the morning, it's about every aspect of life. Whether it's your work, if you're working, whether it's your study, if you're studying, whatever we do. The problem is, it's not about one thing. Sabere ho gaya na, it reflects in every area of life. इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ, अगर 4 बजे नहीं उठना, मालूम है ना अपने से नहीं होता, 4:20 का अलार्म लगाओ, लेकिन 4:20 को उठो. Don't allow that snooze. The first master stroke is assess your opponent and the pitch. And we have very well assessed our opponent, the mind.
Have you ever felt like you wanted to give up because things are not going at your expected pace? Have you ever felt like leaving what you're doing because you see no growth? Have you ever felt like ending it all because of failures you have experienced on your path? Well, whenever you feel low, depressed and overwhelmed with negative emotions because of the ups and downs that inevitably come in life, whenever you feel like you want to quit, whenever you are just not able to see a reason to continue living. Do remind yourself of a simple yet profound analogy. It's been one of my favorites from the very first time I heard it. A man planted fern and bamboo seeds and cared for them really well. He made sure that they both got adequate light and water. The man was delighted to see the fern quickly spring out from the earth and grow really fast, covering its entire surrounding with its bright green color. But he was disappointed when he saw nothing come out from the bamboo seed. But the man did not give up on the bamboo. In the second year, he saw that the growth of the fern was luxuriant, vibrant, and abundant. And the bamboo seed? Nothing came out still. But the man continued caring for the bamboo and did not quit. In the third year, there was still nothing from the bamboo seed, and the man still would not give up. In the fourth year, once again, he saw nothing come from the bamboo seed, but the man persevered and still would not quit. It was in the fifth year that the man saw a tiny sprout emerge from the earth. The bamboo sprout was tiny and insignificant compared to the fern. But in just 6 months from then, the bamboo shot up to over 100 feet tall. The man realized that the bamboo had spent those 5 years growing its roots. It was those roots that made it strong and gave it all what it needed to survive, thrive, and grow. Isn't it true that life does not give anyone a challenge that they cannot handle? If there's a challenge that you're facing at the moment, know for sure that you have the capacity to handle it. Were you aware that all the time you have spent dealing with your challenges and struggles, you've actually been growing roots? Just as the man did not give up on the bamboo, don't give up on yourself. Never quit. Don't compare yourself to others. The bamboo and the fern are so different, yet both make the forest beautiful, each one serving a different purpose. Relax. Your time will come. You will shoot up and rise high as well. Go as high as you can, as high as your potential, not someone else's potential. Be patient and keep working on yourself, and one day you will shoot up like the bamboo tree too. How do we find balance between self-confidence and humility, where in self-confidence you think you're the best and you still have the humility to learn? So your self-confidence doesn't go in the arena of arrogance.
Okay.
You know, so am I kind of on the same page? Great. Now, when I talk about self-confidence, I talk about trying to be the best version of yourself. You know, we are constantly updating our apps. We are constantly updating our operating systems, whether it's an iOS or an Android.
Yeah.
And the updation of the apps or the operating systems means to bring the best versions of what exist.
Yes.
And whenever you're updating to a higher version of yourself, you have to be able to give the best of yourself to it.
Okay.
If you stick to the older version, you reach the plateau and you don't have to work harder. But when you update yourself to a higher version, you have to give the best of yourself and 200% of your energy there.
Yeah.
Hard work, coming out of the comfort zone. Which is why many times I say, you are your own competition actually.
That's true.
Nobody is your competition.
That's true.
We have to compete with ourselves every single moment, every single day to get better than ourselves, to get the better versions of ourselves, to get the best version of ourselves. So when I talk about self-confidence, I talk about being the best version of yourself and having that full confidence that I can crack it. I can get there. Now, just because you're the best version of yourself doesn't mean that you're the best in the world, doesn't mean that you're the best in the universe. As soon as you start thinking that you're the best in the world, self-confidence turns into arrogance.
Yes.
The thin line between self-confidence and arrogance is self-confidence just makes you feel I'm the best of myself, and arrogance makes you think I'm the best in the world.
In the world, yes.
Right? So when we are talking about humility, we're talking about keeping our minds, our hearts, and our consciousness open to learn
Yes.
from the people around us. Everybody has so much to offer. Only arrogance stops you from growth. If there's one thing that's the greatest enemy of self-growth, arrogance. Thinking that I've cracked it all, thinking I know it all, there's no room for improvement, there's no scope for enhancing my skills. Greatest enemy of growth. Which is why I think athletes, or anyone for that matter, has to have self-confidence, but they're constantly working on themselves to be the best version of themselves,
Yes.
but not lead into the arena of arrogance by cultivating requisite humility to keep that mind and heart open to learning from others. Therefore, they say minds are like parachutes.
Yeah.
They function only when they are open.
So to me, learning is less about learning newer things and more about focusing on refining the things that are crucial and that matter to my sustenance and growth, right? And particularly for myself, those things are, number one is to be completely true to my own self and being authentic. I'm not here in this world to be somebody else. I'm here to be myself. I have a purpose. I have something that I can share with the world. And my deepening of this roots means how true, how genuine, and how authentic can I be to my own self. A. The second aspect of deepening that learning for me is humility. Right? The most important aspect, people who grow in their lives, their hard work is not excellent. Like coming for a podcast, going on a stage with 1 million people standing out there. Big deal, you know. It's like an everyday affair. It's an everyday affair. You sit, you come, you start talking. What's the big deal? To me, that's not a big deal at all. The external work is no work at all to me. The real work is internal. Right? Internal. Because when you are successful, it gets into your head, and when you're not successful, it gets into your heart. Right? Success makes you arrogant, and failure makes you depressed. So, to be able to be grounded, to be able to practice humility and knowing that, hey, wait a minute, I think I'm not the one who's doing it. I'm not the one who's doing it. I'm a channel, I'm an instrument. And trust me, a zillion times over, I feel that every single day of my life. I do my bit. I definitely do my bit. But it's not me the one who's doing it. You know? It's like a pencil in the hands of an artist. A pencil may be the best pencil with the best lead, but it's the artist who uses the pencil as an instrument to make a beautiful sketch or write a beautiful poem or make a beautiful plan. You know? So I think that's the second thing for me.
You're saying you're the pencil, not the artist.
I'm not the artist. I'm not the artist. I'm just trying to be a good pencil. I'm just trying to be a good pencil. I'm trying to make sure that I offer the least resistance to the artist. I'm just trying to be a good medium, a good instrument in a way that things can be brought. Because this, I'll tell you, as limited human beings, only this much we can do to change people's lives. But when we are instruments in the hands of something way beyond us, we are tuning into infinite grace. It's infinite grace that touches life, not my tiny puny endeavors.